Bucs have found their new backup quarterback for Patrick Mahomes. They've agreed to send a 2027 sixth-round pick to the New York Jets to acquire Justin Fields, according to Adam Schefter. Fields wanted to continue his career in Kansas City, although other teams were interested in him. After the Jets acquired quarterback Geno Smith in a trade with the Raiders last week to be their new starter, he became available. Meanwhile, veteran cornerback Darius Slay announced his retirement from the NFL today. After 13 seasons, his quote, "This game put me in a position to take care of my family and loved ones. I'm forever grateful. It's hard to say goodbye, but God has a new chapter for me, and I'm ready to turn the page and start my new journey."
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Happy Monday to everybody out there. Hope everybody had a great weekend as we are back in town in cold, gray Seattle from the heat of Arizona out there where it was in the 90s. Dave Wyman's still out there melting until Wednesday, and then he'll be back here. We got Charlie Furbush in with us today. We'll talk some baseball. Daniel Kramer will join us at 3 o'clock, and then we'll have you. Those are our guests today. Daniel and you, Charlie. Welcome. Good to see you.
So good to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can text in 866-979-3776. Weigh in on the Mariners, weigh in on WBC, whatever's on your mind. The text line is there for you. But I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch spring training, keep up with what's going on. But let's talk about we'll talk about what we saw last week. But I'm curious to see or hear what stood out to you to this point.
It's a good question. Really exciting stuff just to get the season started again. I always go back to how the season ended last year and how it can be motivating going into this year. And as I was down in camp at the beginning of spring training, you could just – and this was before everyone left for the WBC. So you had the whole squad there, and you could just feel this sense of urgency and eagerness to get back on the field to get this process and journey started again because they got so close. And a move or two away, a guy that you can acquire – that would make your team better, and then we saw that in Naylor, that finally signing him. I think this team is in such a good spot, and I keep finding more and more things to like about them. And how many times have we gone into spring training where there's only 2 or 3 jobs to be had? I mean, that's what's so cool about this current squad is that they did it last year, then a really good spot going into this year, and there's only a couple jobs where, a couple guys got to show out in spring training and earn it. So unique position for the Mariners to be in this spot because typically they've gone in and there's been, a dozen jobs up for grabs.
Yeah, without question. This is, it's interesting to see just the mood and the environment as you talked about. It's an expectation that's out there. They expect to be in the mix when it's all said and done. It's not, man, I hope. We expect to be amongst those, whether it's the Yankees, whether it's the Angels, whether it's whatever American League team. I know that's not going to be the Angels, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who it is in the American League. The Mariners expect to be amongst the finalists there, and they should, because I think if you're just going to look at their roster and their rotation, I know health is always the caveat, and that's true for every team. Assuming health, there's no reason not to expect, and that's why they're the popular pick nationally, not just locally. Nationally, they are the American League team that most are pointing to, saying, yeah, that's my pick to come out of the AL.
Don't disagree. You saw them finally win the AL West in how many years, and then to see and both of us to sit in the booth and witness what it was like for everyone inside of T-Mobile Park last year. What an environment, right?
Yeah.
I think you talk about the expectations now going into this year. Everyone got a taste of it last year, and it was such high-class, high-level baseball. And, obviously, unfortunately, didn't work out for the Mariners. But, man, it just set the tone moving forward and said, this is what we want to do. We're going to try and get there again and finally get a World Series championship for the Mariners. And it's nice that the Seahawks won it. I think that is something as a former player coming into it. When you have multiple teams in the city that are successful, you just want to be a part of that train, and you want to also do as best you can to try and get that team to the next level. And knowing that the Mariners have yet to get to a World Series, I think this is as good as year as ever that they're going to do it.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I think this is an obvious statement, but this to me is a decidedly better team than the one that entered spring training last year. It's a much more balanced team. It's a longer lineup. It doesn't mean everybody's going to, have a 60 home run season. Cal's going to repeat that and all, but I expect other guys to step up, have seasons beyond what they had last year. You'll have a couple that didn't. That's how it always goes. But it just feels like when you look at Brendan Donovan in that leadoff spot, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to him.
I did.
He's impressive.
Awesome. What a great guy.
He's kind of Naylor part two in that he's sort of obsessed with baseball. How do I get better? What can I do to make this team better? How do I get better individually? How can I help the guy behind me? What do I need to do? And that guy is a worker. That guy was out there grinding every moment, whether he was in the cage forever, whether he's out there pushing the sled around. I mean, that guy's a grinder. And I love his approach. I love his attitude. And it's just, to me, you've got two versions. You got him and Naylor, who are just, all these guys love baseball. I think you have to love it to play at this level. But they're sort of obsessed with, how do I improve? What do I need to do? I'm going to work harder at this. I'm going to do this longer. I'm going to do this more often. He's really impressive.
Yeah, he's came out the gate being not only impressive on the field, but I think that's the other thing, the off the field stuff of being a good teammate and getting to know your teammates and also being a little bit vulnerable yourself and sharing a little bit about who you are and what you're about. But Donovan's going to be such a huge part. I mean, 3 hits yesterday in the game, right? I mean, these guys just got a quick little swing, bat to ball is strong, and I think that's what the Mariners lineup actually needed, as a guy like Donovan in there to continue to, get the guys running around the bases and keep the offense rolling. So really excited to see what kind of dynamic he brings to this lineup, because he could be that X factor that we look at, at the end of the season and say, wow, what a great move, what a great acquisition. And he did everything we thought he was going to do, and it allowed the rest of the guys to be even that much more, efficient on offense.
What do you want to see with the remaining time in spring training? Is there anything you haven't seen? I mean, we haven't seen the full squad together. You got a chance to see very early, but now you've had Julio and Cal and Munoz and Rosarena and Naylor. Everybody's been gone playing for the respective countries. So once they do reconvene after tomorrow's final, what do you want to see with the time that's left?
Obviously, health. I mean,
right.
Without a doubt, But I think
we saw Julio get plunked in the wrist last night.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, son of a!
I know, but no fly zone, man. What a catch, right?
Oh,
unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that, but that
incredible.
That was beautiful.
It was scary, right?
Yeah,
but
that because it looked like
yeah.
It wasn't a glancing blow. I was like, no. But anyway, we'll get into that. But what do you besides health, obviously, what do you want to see?
I would like to see, I'd say as the camp gets close to wrapping up before they, head up north, is once everyone's back in camp, once the WBC is over, having another team meeting, if you will, before the season starts to kind of prepare everyone for what's going to happen. And I think to have all the guys that played in the WBC, even if you lost, you gained an experience and you gained some more knowledge, hopefully, about yourself. But I think to try and have that team meeting before the season starts to really focus on what the goal is ahead. And in the beginning of camp, it's kind of hard to have these, team meetings because there's 50, 75 guys in camp and you got to whittle down to 26. So not that the messaging is drastically different, but I think that when that you're on the team and that those last few roster spots have finally been announced, having that last meeting, I think, can really set the foundation going forward into the season. And that Dan Wilson is going to be one of the first guys to bring the guys together. He's done such a tremendous job since he's gotten here. I mean, it's amazing to see what he's gotten out of this group in such a short amount of time that I can't continue to be impressed by his daily grind and what he brings to the field every day, because he knows what it's like as a former player, but he also understands now how to kind of navigate the managerial side and the game, the day-to-day stuff. So I think he's just a perfect fit for this team and this group of guys, and it's just excited to see what he's going to do this year to, take this team to the next level.
Overall, what's your take on the WBC? Because we were talking about, is this good? Is it bad? You're exposing guys to injury, all that, whether you believe it, you don't, whatever your position is. But I was looking at it from the position of Yeah, I don't want any of these guys to get hurt. Specifically pitchers I worry about. And I see Julio get plunked, and I'm worried about that. But I feel like it can benefit in two different ways. Obviously, these guys are playing games that have all kinds of meaning and intensity to them. You just can't replicate in spring training. You're just not going to get that with spring training games. It's just not that way. So maybe it gets that motor started sooner, specifically for a guy like Julio. Maybe all of them. Maybe it helps all of them just hit the ground running. And then B, the other positive side effect is the opportunities you had with the young guys that got reps that they may not otherwise have gotten in spring training with the starters there.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up a ton of opportunity for other guys, and the uniqueness of the WBC in spring training allows that to happen. But it's hard not to like the WBC and to see, I've been in tune watching every game, every pitch, just, it's feels as if it's playoff baseball, and you can see the fans down in Miami. They're rolling down there. So it's an environment that is just as if you were in the playoffs, in the World Series almost, right? I think that's how passionate it is. That's how much these guys care about playing for their country. And, due to the uniqueness of the Olympics and, hopefully it coming back and what that'll look like if any current guys end up playing. And now the WBC started to continue that competition. And I think it's just been a joy to watch, because you just never know who's gonna show up that day. I mean, I think what a great story with Team Italy. I think that's what the WBC allows us to happen, and allows us to see, the uniqueness of guys coming together in a short amount of time to try and do something special. So, yeah, obviously it's a little risky when, your superstars are out there playing. You don't want them to get hurt, but it's certainly, from a fan perspective, I can't be any more happy watching all these games. I think it's a joy.
Yeah. It's. I think overall, it's an overwhelming positive. Injury again is the one thing you worry about. So, hopefully, one more game, they come out unscathed, and that's what we're hoping for. But as far as some of the young guys we had a chance to see, and some of the veterans and all that, anybody I won't say worried about. Somebody you're just like, all right, let's. Any level of concern, any individual player that you're looking at right now, whether it's a young guy or whether it's a veteran, that you're just like, okay, I need to see hopefully a different version of this guy in the regular season?
Spring, it's such a good question. Spring training is such a interesting time, and being a former player and having to go through it on the side of trying to make the team and then already on the team. Mm-hmm. So I think, as we talk about it, is how much weight do we really put into spring training? Because at the end of the day, you can have an absolutely terrible spring training and then have an awesome season, and no one will remember your spring training forever. Like, no one cares. So that's the really tough thing, is like, how do you balance what you're seeing on the field, and is that really the true player in spring training versus a guy mid-season? So I think the spring training aspect is hard to judge sometimes of what I see. But, for me, it's just trying to be cognizant of everyone's health. So for me, if I had to point to anyone, is just making sure JP gets his shoulder right. I think that's the concern right now. And I only say it is that it's his throwing arm. So it's somebody that's going to have to ramp it up and throw max effort and throw off balance and throw in ways that where the ball and the glove take you. I think that's where I'm a little concerned, just because, it's not quite right yet, and we're in 10 days away from the season. So it's a little concerning, but at the end of the day, I'm not concerned, because he's dealt with this before. But I think when I see some health stuff kind of nagging and not really clearing up, it gives me a little concerned, because ideally he's your starting shortstop and he's a legit part of this lineup. So that's where the little concern comes in. But I am, hopeful that it's all normal spring training stuff. So it's like I don't really look into spring training too much as a former player, because it's hard to put much weight into it. I think, like I said before, there's only so many jobs won. So the performance is, the results that you'll get in spring training are what they are. But more or less, players and the staff are all looking at the body of work, how you're approaching it, how you're feeling, how you're recovering. From a pitching standpoint, what's the ball doing out of your hand? Is the spin profile and the shape what we want it. So I think those are the things that are easier to take away from spring training than the actual results. They can be a little messy, especially when you're dealing with sunballs like every other day,
Yeah. The one guy, I won't say I'm worried, but he's somebody I hope to see sort of turn the corner, because it's not even so much about his numbers, it's just how he's looked at the plate, is Victor Robles. And that's a guy that, Dave and I were talking about. Who's your dark horse? Who's your guy that's not Cal, not Julio, not Naylor, that you think could be impactful this year? And we both picked him. And just watching him in the box, his timing's not there. Like, he was being beat. He's getting beat by the fastball. He's behind. He's out in front of the off speed. I didn't see him square a ball up, even making it out. Even if they're lining the ball, you're like, okay, right. He's seeing the ball well. He's squaring that ball up. Yeah, he's hitting it at people, but whatever. He's on it. He didn't look to be on it. So, and I know he's dealing with a bit of a shoulder thing. So how much is that impacting? I don't know. I saw him in the clubhouse with a big electronic something or other on there. And, so he's still getting it treated. And I hope that's it. It clears up for the season. I wouldn't say I'm worried, but he's a guy that I was sort of excited about the potential of what he could bring to the table. And he's the one that looked a bit off, not just looking at numbers.
No, I get it. I can see that as well, especially from the timing aspect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing with hitters is just trying to find your timing so you can go from at bat to at bat and not feel fooled out there. And I think that's what you see sometimes is when you're getting guys in spring training throwing mid upper 90s and you're a little late, you're going to get exposed.
Yeah.
So, I think with Robles and let's call it the new normal for his left shoulder. Right, he had a big surgery, came back, trying to figure out how that feels. And I can imagine, as somebody who's had multiple shoulder surgeries, that it definitely doesn't feel like it used to, but it doesn't hurt anymore. It's just a matter of trying to figure out where and what you need to do to get your arm right, so you're not thinking about it, right? Like, so it's out of your way. So he may have to do treatment on his shoulder for many years to come. But I think when it comes to timing, yeah, that's one of the things where you're going to constantly be in the cage. You'll be working with Seitzer. You'll be working with Edgar, trying to say, hey, we got to get that front foot down. We got to get ready to hit. We have to be in a position that we can't be fooled or chasing pitches we can't handle. So some of these things you can kind of work out on the side that I'm not too concerned about. But when you see him live in a game and it almost looks like somebody's not ready or prepared, it can be a little jarring at times. But It kind of goes back to me. It's like, all right, well, some guys are up there doing different things and trying to get different outcomes out of spring training because they're essentially trying to work on things. But I think from Victor's side of things, it's like, hey, we need you to be healthy. And if we can get a version of what we got out of you before you were hurt, and that's huge to us. That is huge. So I do agree on the X factor of him being a good choice for that.
You guys can text in on that as well, 866-979-3776. Who are you most concerned or you're not, or how about uncertain about? How about that? It's not so negative. You just don't know. You're just like, I don't know, is this guy going to turn it around? Is he going to be an impact player? Who's that guy? And then the other side of that, which player are you most certain about? You just know. I know what I'm getting from this guy.
Which one do you want me to answer first?
Well, you already answered the first one. So what about the second one? Who are you most certain about? I know what this guy's going to do.
Julio.
Yeah?
Yeah. 100%.
That's interesting because I don't know what he's going to do to start the year. That's always the wild card.
And that's why I pick him is because at the end of the year, he finished 7th in MVP last year or something?
Yeah.
The guy's
30 a year.
Right. And I that's what I know I'm going to get, right? So I think if I can bank on that, then and anything above that is, I think we're all waiting to see the MVP season for Julio that he seemingly is capable of getting. So to me, that's like a lock it, set it, forget it. Like center field, your production, his experience, it's all going to just continue to get better. And he continues to show that he's very healthy. So, that would be my lock for sure.
Nah, that's interesting.
I would say pitch. I'm a bias, right? I should pick a pitcher, right?
Yeah, well, but you don't know.
But I also know how fragile pitching can be.
And we saw it last year.
You're a pitch away from going down or being hurt for a little while.
Yeah, we saw it last year with the whole rotation outside of Castillo.
Who do you pick? Who's your
one
lock?
I'm most certain? I think it might be Donovan or Naylor.
Wow, a couple newbies.
Yeah, because I could say Cal, but Cal's not going to hit 60 again. So I don't know what you're going to. I think you're going to get a good, solid season out of him. Certainly, I expect him to be good. What version are we? Are we going to get a guy who hits 50, 40, which are still brilliant seasons for a catcher? I don't know. So I'm uncertain there. Julio, I don't know how he starts the year, but you're right. In the end, his numbers are always there. But is he going to be a guy that's impactful early in the season? I don't know. Donovan, he's killing it in spring. I get it. It's spring. Take it for what it is. But just, I don't know. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because I was watching him so often out there during the week and watching how hard that guy works. Was blown away by it. And if you haven't heard the interview with him, I've definitely checked that out. I mean, I don't know how you listen to that and don't fall in love with this guy. So I feel like him or they're just grinders. And I just feel like, barring injury, they're both going to be living up to the back of that baseball card. And they're going to be guys that just are looking for that edge at all times. They're just going to, I figure they're going to be the most, they'll have slumps, every player does, but I figure they would be the most consistent performers. Maybe not the biggest performer, just the most consistent beginning of the season to the end of the season.
Well, that's a good way. I think I'd maybe lean towards Donovan over Naylor. I think maybe Naylor has more peaks and valleys than Donovan would. So, yeah, consistency-wise, yeah. I mean, I think if you get anything out of Donovan of what we expect, then this is going to be a solid player for the Mariners.
Yeah. All right, let's take two.
Well, some big news today. The NBA Board of Governors will vote next week whether or not to open up the bidding process for expansion teams, specifically in Seattle and Vegas. It's expected to pass. It's expected to be a formality because there's already a target date for these two teams to begin play during the 2028-2029 season.
Be a big deal out here. We'll talk about it, but NBA coming back to Seattle feels like a formality. They'll have to find buyers, and price tags expected to be somewhere $8 to $10 billion.
Should I take my shirt off and spin it around now? That excitement? Come on.
Sonics,
Let's
NBA
go.
back in town. Gonna have to start paying attention to that league again. I used to love the NBA. I could name every coach. I could tell you about the stars on every team.
Okay.
And as the years went on, we don't talk about it. People get angry when you talk NBA, and I just kind of stopped paying attention to it. So you have to play some catch up. But I mean, come on, there's a 4-decade-long history in this city of NBA basketball.
Bring them back. Supersonics, what a cool mascot. Somebody grew up on the East Coast. It was what a cool team. They left an impact across the country, right? So I think that's where anyone that has had any sort of experience with the Supersonics, especially players, you know how many players that are all on board for having Seattle come back? That's also shows you how important and what kind of impact Seattle left on so many people. So it's just so exciting to see. I'm all about it. I actually do like the NBA, Bob. So I'll give you all the knowledge I have.
All right, yeah, I'll pick your brain on that.
We have our second WBC semifinal tonight between Venezuela and Italy. Gino Suarez batting fourth for Venezuela. The only Mariner for Italy that is still there, Dominic Canzone, not in the starting lineup tonight for the Italians.
Who do you want to see? Who do you want? Who's the easier path for the U.S. team?
I mean, I think
we saw what happened with Italy.
Yeah, well, I think that's where I would still, pick Italy in one way as like a revenge game, right? But yeah, I think just because it's a feel-good story too, right?
Yeah. Nobody expected them to be here.
Totally. So yeah, I think.
Who do you think? So you want them to win?
Yeah.
Who do you think wins?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be we got Limrenzen on the mound tonight, so he's going to have to show out for them to even have a chance. Because I just don't think that their bullpen is as strong as it appears. I mean, they definitely have some guys. Former Mariner Dan Altavilla, I remember seeing him chucking it out there. So, they have some guys. But yeah, I'd be more, I think, afraid to face Venezuela in that lineup for sure.
Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. This might be the most important off day of spring training for one Mariner player. I'll tell you who that is coming up next with Wyman and Bob with Charlie Furbush in today at Seattle Sports on 710.
9 out of 10 experts agree wearing earbuds at work is the universal signal for leave me alone. So grab the earbuds, pull up the Seattle Sports app, and trade that annoying coworker's endless yapping for this.
He's at the wall. Cal Raleigh's first one of the spring.
Listen to every Mariner spring training game live for free, only on the Seattle Sports app. Improving lives through Mariners baseball, one
Sparkling play by Josh Naylor
at a time.
Hey, it's Bob Stelton here, and if you're somebody with joint pain, this will be of interest to you. This Thursday night at 6 p.m., Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is having a free live webinar to talk about stem cell therapy.
Hi, it's Dave Wyman, and this live webinar is a great education on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
Whether it's a hip like I had, a shoulder, elbow, knee, or even wrists and ankles, this live webinar will explain the procedure and how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells.
Learn about stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, one of the most experienced in the country with over 20,000 stem cell procedures.
Go pain-free in 2026. Join his free live stem cell webinar this Thursday night at 6 p.m.
Register at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Your old water heater's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net. Day and Night has $150 off installation of any new water heater, including tankless, backed by a free lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Bruce. When your old water heater leaks or fails, the damage could be catastrophic. Whether you need an emergency replacement or you're planning ahead before it leaks, give us a call and we'll help you get into hot water again.
Get $150 off installation of any new water heater.
DayandNight.net. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver, / handyman, / wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/ pet sitter, / influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Don't miss the all-sound plumbing Mariners Cactus League report. Tuesday nights at 6. Going inside Mariners camp on the home of the American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 22nd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers in high school to former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying two phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. You want to weigh in on the Mariners, your level of optimism. Which player are you most certain about what they're going to produce? Which one are you most curious about or least certain about in terms of production for this team? You can text that in. Again, 866-979-3776. Meanwhile, J.P. Crawford has missed the last 4 games due to his shoulder. How concerned do you think you should be at this point? I think anytime anybody's got anything going in spring, they're going to err on the side of caution, right? So it's hard to read too much into the team's reaction. But what's your feeling? What's your gut telling you about JP?
Yeah, it tells me he's just coming along a little slower than he anticipated. Obviously, he's dealt with this last spring training as well, so it's not something that's completely unheard of. But I think the tough thing is what we see is, okay, you came in, you got some ABs, got in the field, now you're taking days off. So I think it tells me that, the recovery rate isn't there. You know, you're not recovering well enough to get back out there and play. And at this point, there's no point in pushing yourself because these games don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. So, it's always concerning when it starts getting a little closer. But, you know, I've seen this time and time again where there's a player or two, due to health concerns, gets brought along slowly in spring, only to make 1 or 2 appearances and then has a full healthy season. So it tells me that, one, JP's a veteran player. He's been through this before. He knows how to get to the other side of it. The Mariners obviously aren't too concerned about it. They've done enough work with him, and the staff knows where he's at. He's certainly closer to being on the field than he's not. So it tells me that, there's a little hiccup there. Getting his arm right is going to be paramount for him to play shortstop. So I think that's where, if there's any issues when it comes to throwing, and then on top of that, if there's any issues with hitting and or running, it's like, all right, well, how do we navigate all this to make sure that you're ready to go for 162 come game 1? So
and this is a big year for him.
Huge year.
Final year.
Right.
He's a free agent after this year. So it's like an audition for other teams, perhaps, because I think most people look at this situation and go, well, Colt Emerson is your shortstop of the future.
For sure. And
so what that means for JP beyond this season, I think he's probably looking at another team. I don't think he's anywhere near retiring. So I think this is my year to prove it. If I'm him, I'm like, all right, I'm going to show any other team out there what I can do and how valuable I can be.
Right. And, you know, we've seen him make time and time again great defensive plays. And I think that's going to be his bread and butter, is he able to continue to have that range and have the arm strength? And that's probably what they're kind of trying to navigate is as a shortstop, you're making so many off-balance throws.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the issue, is that you're putting your arm into a position that is, not a healthy position, right? It's kind of comparable, if you will. So trying to limit that as often as you can is only going to help him be healthier longer. So I'm not that concerned. I mean, I'm concerned enough because in a perfect world, he's your starting shortstop. So there is a level of concern. But at the same time, it just continues to show how great the Mariners are. They have some depth. There's plenty of pieces that could fill in for him if need be.
Shannon Dreyer was on with Brock and Salk this morning, and she was outlining the latest with JP.
He is calling it, or they are calling it, fatigue. It is, we've been over it. He's felt it before. So he was held out of games for about a week and a half, and then he came back, played a couple, and now they're holding him back a little bit more. I will say that leading up to the games, he did do quite a bit of the fielding drills. So it's not like he's had nothing with the arm. this spring. He has been throwing. He has been participating in fielding drills. And, JP yesterday said he anticipates being in the lineup tomorrow. So hopefully that's a good sign right there. But when we talked to Dan, they said, well, we'll know more after the off day. So, I think they're not too worried about it, but, certainly it's something that they would like to get put behind them. And as of right now, it's not behind them.
So they're kind of in a wait and see mode, and he's expecting to be there. But yeah, I mean, what's the remedy here? I'm sure they're doing tons of treatment, doing everything that the training staff normally would do. Is it, hey, you just got to rest this thing, like don't swing, don't throw, just let it be? Or is it, hey, you got to work out adhesions, you got to work. I mean,
yeah,
it's been a long time since I've practiced medicine, Charles, so I'm a little rusty. But yeah, I don't know what the proper avenue is for them.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination of rest, and you hear Shannon talking about the off day and how he's going to feel doing zero baseball activities. I think that's it happens throughout the spring training and throughout the season sometimes where you have a day off where you don't do anything. You don't have any baseball activities. And more often than not, that next day, you definitely feel better. Like you feel a little more refreshed, a little more recovered. So I would imagine that they're hoping that JP shows up tomorrow and he's feeling good and strong, ready to be in the lineup, at least hitting. Maybe he's not at shortstop, but at least getting those ABs to get his timing right. That's going to be, I think, more important right now is getting some ABs than necessarily being in the field. Obviously, he, like Shannon said, he's in the field doing work right now on the side. So I think it's just – it goes back to not pressing the gas pedal when you don't need to.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, right? It's like don't push yourself now for these last few games of spring training when they don't mean anything. I mean, the Mariners are not necessarily the best team in spring training anyways right now. So it's like – hey, you just do what you need to do. We're going to work with you, and if you're not going to open the season healthy, that's okay. We have the pieces in place to fill that gap until you come back. But everyone knows JP is a leader in that clubhouse. He's a leader on that field, and he's done so much over the years he's been here. So I imagine that he'll be back sooner than later, and we'll know pretty quickly, how that arm's feeling, right? I think he's going to be challenged in a lot of ways, swinging and throwing, and how that recovery rate is happening. So hopefully it's just one of those things as a not old baseball player, but it isn't, into that veteran category. It's, as you know, Bob, it's like our bodies start working a little different, right? And you come into spring training and suddenly it didn't hurt last year and now it hurts this year.
Yeah. So. Used to be able to do this day after day, and now I need some rest. Yeah. I'm curious, though, if let's say it just continues to linger, what does that do to the lineup? What does it do to the roster? Does Colt Emerson maybe get more of an opportunity, or do you think they're looking at him going, yeah, he's better served to go down to AAA, and we've got Leo Rivas as sort of our everything guy?
It's a really, really tough question. I think how and when you deploy Emerson and when his clock gets started, I don't know if the Mariners are comfortable in that situation of starting him in hopes that he's only up for a couple weeks. He did have the playoff roster expansion, so he was up seeing
the
that.
Taxi squad.
The taxi squad. And, I don't know. I'm not sure if they want to start his service time clock right now for, let's call it 2 to 3 weeks, and then JP's back, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
So you may be better off suited with Rivas in there because he's done it and he's shown that he can handle that job and actually do it pretty well from time to time. So, yeah, I don't know. But I think at the same time, you look at, and as we were down there, you saw Emerson. He's a pretty polished player. I mean,
defensively, yeah. Offensively, it seems like it's been a bit of a grind for him.
But he's got the tools, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And he clearly did great in AAA as a 20-year-old last year. So the ceiling is as high as anyone in the org. So I think it's just a matter of when the team is comfortable letting him be the guy, I think they're going to go, you're the guy. There's no one trying to take the job, or you're not filling in for 2 weeks. I just think from that type of player, you want to give him the best opportunity to succeed over the long term and not be like, hey, you're here for the next 2 weeks. Good luck.
Yeah.
So I see that it's probably going more towards a Rivas situation and maybe starting Emerson's clock a little later, buying that extra year of control in the back end for the team. Who knows what happens with the CBA at the end of this year? I mean, all things are off the table at this point. But Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to see how this next week plays out and whether JP's healthy or not, because they'll have to make another move, and essentially another roster spot is open for grabs.
Meanwhile, the WBC is coming to an end, which should put one unsettling matter to rest for the Mariners. We'll get into that next. It's Wyman and Bob with Charlie Furbush in Seattle Sports on 710.
Brock and Salk.
I got a text from a friend that said, I'm having a discussion with a buddy.
Morning 6 to 10.
He says the Mariners are better than last year. I told him I'd get your expert opinion. Well, I appreciate being labeled an expert in this case.
Did you answer?
I did answer.
On paper, you would see that this is a more mature team and a complete team.
Brock and Salk. Morning 6 to 10 on the home of your American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
High five. Up top. Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Heck yeah! He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread. Yes! The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping. Woo! For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Don't wait. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
At Pacific Power Batteries, we know that 3 out of 10 people are pretty good with math. The other 8 people, not so good. That's why we're here to help you select a battery with the best value of dollars per cold cranking amp, per minute reserve capacity, or per amp hour. We speak battery and often use a calculator. So come visit us at Pacific Power Batteries, where, with a 12-volt battery, we'll throw in the extra 0.6 of a volt for no extra charge.
P&D Tree Service, local experts in tree removal for residential and commercial. Their team works fast to remove problem trees in your yard and neighborhood. If you were hit hard by the storm, P&D Tree will remove trees and clean up while minimizing impact on your landscaping. 24-hour emergency service, any job, big or small, safe, efficient, and fast. P&D Tree Service turns multi-day jobs into a few hours, saving you time and money. Enjoy a clean, safe, and bright yard. PNDTreeservice.com.
That pallet of pavers collecting dust? The beginnings of a garden? Those stray fence posts? Are you haunted by half-finished projects on your land? John Deere is here to say, not anymore. Our compact tractors allow you to swap implements easily, and they're backed by the nation's largest dealer network. You always had the right idea, and with the right tools, those projects can get finished for good. Nothing runs like a Deere. Learn more at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Opening day is just days away, and we want to send you and a friend to experience it like never before. Get front row access to the opening ceremonies, player introductions, first pitch, and more, all from the field. To enter, just open the Seattle Sports app and hit the Win tab. You can enter once per day, so the more you enter, the better your chances. Better hustle. Contest runs through March 18th. From the home of your American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports. Get broadcast times for every 3-Tree Roofing Mariners Cactus League broadcast.
Holy smokes, he does it again!
At seattlesports.com.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up at 3 o'clock, Daniel Kramer will join us on the program. Stay tuned for that. We'll talk some Mariner baseball with him. Meanwhile, we'll talk to Charlie Furbush and you guys throughout the day at 866-979-3776. One of the big stories out there, obviously, it was the handshake situation with Cal and Randy. I don't know. What was your take? We've talked about it. I'm curious. You and I have not discussed it. What was your take on that whole thing?
Non-issue for me. Like I just think it's one of these friendly competitions and guys, standing up for their team and the uniqueness of playing for your country. And the fact that it happened previous in a different World Baseball Classic,
Will Smith,
exactly.
Yeah.
It just tells me the precedent has already been set, And the fact that it was Randy, it's even more funny that Randy did it again and happens to be his teammate Cal. So,
that's what made it odd for everybody.
Yeah.
That it'd be different if he were doing that and it was, somebody that played for the A's or whatever, and
right.
They didn't dap him up. They'd be like, yeah, all right, whatever. But the fact that it's your teammate, that puts a different spin on things.
Yeah, I think it's, I guess for me, a story. I don't really think we should put much, weight onto it. It's going to be one of these non-things, and obviously now that Mexico isn't even in it anymore, the fact that we're still talking about it is kind of comical.
Well, I'm curious from the listeners out there because I've seen it on social media. The sides were taken.
Oh, yeah. All big time.
Whether you're on Cal's side, you're on Randy's side, there was definitely a line drawn. There were very few people because I was kind of with you. I was kind of like, well, geez. I was like, I get it. Cal could have eliminated this whole thing by just putting the glove out, dap him up, done. Randy could have eliminated this whole thing by just keeping his mouth shut. Like he was asked not to do it. He did it anyway. And then he said what he said after the game. So he's furthered this thing with the pictures he was posting. It was like, dude, you both could have squashed it. You both had the power to make this a non-story.
It did take a turn that I don't think anyone saw coming for how long it's been.
Yeah, well, and then we saw Naylor go up there and do it. And his reaction after the game is he was laughing. You see how funny he thought it was.
Well, I think that's what we all should be doing. It's just like a funny thing that, typically in a regular season game, beginning of called the first at bat, Randy or anyone would go up and they maybe take their bat, they tap the shin guard of the umpire. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, he could have done that, right? He could have done something different, but the fact that he stuck his hand out and was denied is like this giant story of, oh no, is Cal disrespecting
the
Randy?
And issue was how he responded after the game.
I mean, was that a little funny too? I don't know. Were you reading it? I was reading it with a little laughter. It came in like 4 different ways.
Came in hot, man. There was a lot of expletives there, and he could basically stick this where the sun don't shine and all that good stuff. I was like,
I thought it was good for competition, though. Like, you know what? All right, you're not going to, I'm going to say my piece then, and then it's all water under the bridge. And I think that's what you heard from Cal. It's like, no, Randy's my guy. Like, we're teammates, and as soon as we get back in that clubhouse in Seattle or in Peoria, it's going to be, water on the bridge, and we're hugging. So
yeah, I feel like Randy could have done more to squash this, and he hasn't. He's kind of kept it going. Whether he thinks it's funny or not, I don't know. But even his statement, he released a statement through the team saying, "We didn't get the results we wanted with Team Mexico, but I'm glad to be back in camp with my teammates. The WBC is behind us now, and I don't want anything to take away from the Mariners. I'm focused on the season and helping this team compete for a World Series."
I mean, awesome. Isn't that what you want to hear?
I'd like him to hear, look, I was having fun. This got blown up into something much bigger than it should have been. It's all love here. I love Cal. He's my brother. I would have loved to hear something more specific other than, hey, my team didn't do what I was hoping, but now it's about the Mariners. It was very general. I was hoping to be a little more specific, like, look, this has been made a big deal, and it shouldn't have been, and maybe I should have done this, that, or the other, whatever. Just something a little more pointed, like,
I think, but it elicits like follow-up questions, and I think he's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, yeah, that's just it. He released a statement and hasn't spoken.
Right. So it's just, I love, it's just a country battle. It's the competition and the uniqueness that it happens to be your teammate, when the tournament's over. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's anything to really look into and think that, now there is some sort of, internal issue, right? And it's like, there's a constant battle of Randy versus Cal inside the clubhouse. Like that's not happening. So
yeah, I'm curious for you guys listening, 866-979-3776. Did it change the way you view either of these guys? Has your opinion of Cal changed? Has your opinion of Randy changed based on this? Because that's a lot of what I saw on social media. No matter who they were ripping, it was, I'm so disappointed in this guy. Insert name, whichever one. I thought he was this. Turns out he's that. So I saw it with both guys. I thought Cal was better than that, and I think the season got to his head, and now he thinks he's this, and Randy's obviously the problem, and there was a lot of that. In fact, you're seeing it now. 253. It's obvious he dissed one man, and then Naylor. He's a punk B. So obviously that's changing how somebody feels about Cal right there. Yeah. And now the next text could be, that guy's an idiot. It's all Randy's fault. So people have changed how they've felt, at least at this point, about one or both of them. And I'm just curious. It hasn't changed really what I think of either one of them. I was hoping for different things from both of them. Like I said, even though Cal told him don't do it, he could have been like, dude, little dap, done. It's over. He didn't.
Would it have been more funny?
Randy could have just squashed the whole thing and not said a word after the game. Been like, he's told me not to do it. I was just testing him just to see, or just to get into his head. Whatever. He could have had fun with it, but instead he's bleepity bleep him and stick it here and blah blah blah. I was like, oh no.
So now you're making me think about this. Is it more disrespectful? And there's a little idea that maybe obviously didn't happen, but would it be more disrespectful if Cal went to shake his hand and then Randy went to shake his hand and Cal pulled away?
Well, that's what David and I were joking about. You doing the old dad joke where you're you're slicking back the hair.
Is that like more respectable because it's funny?
That would have been funny.
Right? Is that more funny?
At least it would have been lighter.
Yeah. Then it is like, I'm not going to shake your hand. I don't know you. Yeah. It's, I don't know. I don't look at them any differently. And anyways, I actually probably look at them more as stronger competitors, right? Like they are really wanting to win, and you heard it time and time again from what they're saying, and that's why I think in Randy's statement most recently, it's just the line I take from it. I don't want to take anything away from the Mariners. I mean, that is a really good thing to be saying right now because it's like this isn't a thing. So I think the fact that we're talking about it is just comical in one way, but it also shows you kind of the competition level of the WBC and how, like, these guys really, really care to play for their country. And you've heard a couple guys, even Julio, talk about how cool it is to play for the Dominican Republic and how small that country is. So when you have an opportunity to wear that country on your on your chest, you don't take it lightly. And I know you heard it from Cal and Skeens and Scooble and all these guys.
Team USA seems to be the one team that's electing to be that way, where the other teams are interacting, and that's what was being posted by Randy and interactions with different teams and dap, hug, whatever. It's just, I don't know. You heard that? I read you the one text. It was Rip and Cal. Here's 206. Randy is a whining 5-year-old who barely bats .230. That strikeout machine needs to get over himself. See, so it's just, I don't know. People taking sides, and I don't know. Maybe that person's always felt that way about Randy. I don't know. But it was interesting to me to see how many just definitive statements were made about each one of them going, all right, well, how'd you feel about these guys before this happened? Are you different now? Are you like, I love this guy and now I don't? Now he's a different person than I thought he was? How much of an impact did this have on how you view either of those two players? And I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just curious. I'm just asking, is your opinion of either different than it was prior to this incident? Text that in, 866-979-3776. We'll get the latest on J.P. Crawford situation and everything else going on with this Mariners team from our guy Daniel Kramer. He's going to join us next with Wyman and Bob. Charlie Furbush in at Seattle Sports on 710.
9 out of 10 experts agree wearing earbuds at work is the universal signal for leave me alone. So grab the earbuds, pull up the Seattle Sports app, and trade that annoying coworker's endless yapping for this.
He's at the wall. Cal Raleigh's first one of the spring.
Listen to every Mariners spring training game live for free, only on the Seattle Sports app. Improving lives through Mariners baseball, one
sparkling play by Josh Naylor
at a time.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Opened in 1933, our family is still here, doing the right thing for your family.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 22nd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers in high school to former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
See country star Aaron Lewis and the State Liners
Country boy
at Muckleshoot Casino Resort, March 24th at 8 p.m. And now an added show on March 25th. He's a multi-platinum artist whose raw lyrics and powerhouse vocals have captivated fans for decades.
willing to bleed, but take a bullet.
Now he and his band, the State Liners, are coming to Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
American as it gets.
Get your tickets now to see Aaron Lewis at Muckleshoot Casino